Rev up your engines!
Well, you think the price of gas is bad here? Cuba is raising their fuel price 500% on Friday. The government controls it all because it's a commie country and they control everything, right? They're raising the price of gasoline 500%. So you might think, how can these poor Cubans afford it? They don't have that much money in other countries. Kind of a gigantic mess. And they're also telling foreign visitors, please pay for fuel with your foreign cash. We want your foreign cash. We don't want our stupid Cuban money. We want your foreign cash, right? Being a communist country, gasoline's been subsidized for a while by them. They used to get a lot of free stuff from Russia, but the Russians gave up with that a while ago, right? But here's what's happening. The price of regular gasoline is going to go from 25 pesos a liter to 132 pesos a liter. They're going from 95 cents a gallon to like $4.75. That's a lot. I guess the Cubans are going to be hoofing it now, riding bicycles instead of driving around in cars. Because, you know, they got a lot of those old clunky American cars that they pasted together for driving, right? And those things are big gas hogs. If you're paying that much a gallon, are going to be a lot of walking Cubans, right? Or they're going to stay at home. Can you imagine what would happen in the United States if the price of gas went up, 500%? People would be revolting in the streets. Well, we'll see what happens in Cuba. They'll probably just give up and walk instead. Or stay at home, right? Small country, it's not that big. They can ride bicycles and walk. Ride horses. They could go back into the, 1800s and ride horses instead of driving cars. All right, GM says its new Chevy Bolt EV will save billions of dollars with more affordable LFP batteries. Well, I can tell people how to save billions. Don't buy the stupid things in the first place. But let's get down to the truth of the matter. Those are the lithium iron phosphate batteries. And yes, they're cheaper to make. But here's the real hilariousness of it all. They are less energy dense than lithium-ion batteries. So you need to have more of them to get the same power as you will a lithium-ion battery. They're just cheaper to make. So, as they said back in the day, don't worry about electric cars. Oh, their range better and better. They get longer and longer range. Well, guess what? Now these are going to get shorter and shorter ranges because the batteries are less energy dense, right? I mean, GM has just been touting this crap. They stopped making the Bolt, and now they're making it again, right? And they're saying, oh, the new platform of their Ultium battery, Ultium baloney. It's a cheaper system. That's all that it is, to make them cheaper. They don't care about quality. The reason they're touting billions, it'll save billions because it's cheaper to make it. And if they sell millions of them, which I kind of doubt, the electric car market's kind of saturated as it is, right? They think it's going to go up and up. In the beginning, they sold some because the people who are interested to try it out, go ahead and do it. But for the vast majority of Americans, if you look at the resale value now of electric cars, it's down the toilet. I see used electric cars that are a year old that are going for 50 to 70% less than they originally cost. These are vehicles that are a year old max. Some of them only have 15, 20,000 miles on them. Nobody wants them. Right? And now GM's saying, our new batteries, the LFP, yeah, always a buzzword, LFP. They never explain anything to you, right? Lithium iron phosphate instead of lithium ion, because of course it's cheaper to make it. And that's all they care about. There's less energy in it, but, they're cheaper to make. Oh, yeah. That's all I got to say. Cheaper isn't better for the end consumer who's going to find out that, hey, they don't go as far. Yeah, so what if they're cheaper? The whole thing of an electric car is you got range anxiety to begin with. Why would you put in a battery that has less energy in it? It makes no sense, but then again, it's GM. They've lost their marbles years ago. Now, I was just reading an article, and I agree. There are some myths out there that people keep propagating that are totally made up, right? Now, number one was, Back in the day, people would say, there's carburetors out there that go on cars that can get 100 miles a gallon, but the government's just keeping people from using them, so you buy more gasoline and keep the economy going, right? Well, of course, it's total nonsense. A carburetor on an old American car that could get 100 miles a gallon, it would have no acceleration whatsoever. It would have such a small amount of power, right? I mean, there's always the happy medium between power and fuel economy. Now, today, you get better gas mileage than back in the day because instead of carburetors, there's very fancy fuel injection systems, and the latest model ones are the direct injection, where the gasoline cars use a system just like the diesels, where they spray the fuel directly into the engine block itself, right? And they are more fuel efficient. There's no arguing it. But it's always a happy medium between how much power can you get and what kind of gas mileage you get. You can get a lot more power, but then the gas mileage goes down. And conversely, you can get a lot better gas mileage, but then you won't have any power at all. So these myths about, a carburetor 100 miles, that's a bunch of nonsense. And another bit of nonsense is, you get those 2+ seater sports cars and you'll save on your insurance because now it's 4-seater. It's not a 2-seater, it's a 4-seater. It's all nonsense, people. What they go by is crash rates, the power that a vehicle has. You get a big, fast sports car. It doesn't matter if you put another 2 seats in the back. It's still a big, fast sports car. And the only thing the insurance companies care about is how many wrecks do they get, how many people killed in them, how much damage do they do when they're average wrecks. It's all done by mathematical equations, right? Adding 2 seats in the back has nothing to do with lowering your insurance premium. The last one, when I was younger, I say, hey, you're safer not wearing a seatbelt than wearing a seatbelt. You might get trapped in your car because you're in a seatbelt, right? Well, of course, that's one of the worst myths of all. But they propagated it back in the days in the 60s when they're starting to bring in a bunch of seatbelts and people didn't like wearing them. Oh, they're not comfortable enough. Oh, I don't like the restriction, right? And I'd say, well, you'll be trapped in the seatbelts in your wreck. Well, numero uno. The last thing you want in a car wreck is to go flying either through the windshield or flying out of the car because you're not fastened down. Then the odds of becoming deceased are much higher. You want to stay in the car, right? You're not wearing a seatbelt, you get in a big wreck, you're going to smash into the windshield. You don't have to worry about escaping the car, you'll be dead. Or if you fly out of the car because you don't have a seatbelt, you'll also be dead. You're the safest inside a car, right? With the seatbelt on. You can push the button to get out when you need to. Let's face it, did you say you're hanging upside down in a car in a seatbelt, right? If you hadn't had that seatbelt and you're upside down, you would have been smashed up so bad you'd probably be conked out anyways, right? So don't think it's safer without seatbelts because it isn't. Keep them buckled up. Don't listen to any of these stupid rumors that people have been propagating for generations. Well, hardy har har, I'm laughing my butt off. Wendys was saying we're going to have Uber-style price increase surges when people buy a bunch of hamburgers. Well, guess what? Wendy's just backtracked on it and said, oh, no. We never meant to do that, right? Of course they did, but somehow the information leaked out, and people like me, I made a video on that, I was furious. I'm like, who would pay more money just because a bunch of people want to get the same food, right? Now, I laughed when I made the other video because I said, what are these people, idiots? You don't want to place they jack your rate, you just go across the street to the McDonald's or the Burger King if Wendy's trying to rip you off, right? It's not like gasoline where, of course, you drive around town. Most of the time, the price of gasoline is pretty close in all the stations. And, of course, all that does is show you that there is collusion in pricing amongst the big gasoline companies. What a lot of people don't understand is it doesn't matter what gasoline you're buying. In most areas, there's only one refinery. So, say Shell refines the gas in your area. Then Exxon, all the other companies, they buy the gas from that refinery, and then theoretically they put their own additives and take it to their own stations, right? These nuts at Wendy's thinking they're going to have price surge, and now they backed off on it, right? Just like a lot of these companies that decided, Mercedes-Benz for a while, made some cars that didn't have oil dipsticks, right? And their owners screamed bloody murder. So guess what? They put them back in their later models because people were like, I want to be able to check the oil in my car. What kind of nonsense is this? And if they're going to charge you more for a hamburger when it's noon than you are at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, well, guess what? People aren't going to go to your stores anymore. Obama. And now they're backtracking when, oh, no, we really didn't mean it. They really did, right? But they got caught with their finger in the pie, and now they're saying, oh, no, I was just testing the temperature of the pie. I wasn't trying to taste it, you know? So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.